looking back on it now, it's almost classic case of how it's triggered and what happens and how nobody realizes what's going on until, well, I guess until everything explodes. My name is Jess Noguera. I am 39 years old and I'm living with bipolar. My father had died, and that was from dementia. It took 2 years for him to deteriorate, and I struggled a lot. And so some of the first symptoms, in the 2 years leading up to my father passing away, lack of sleep. I would start projects. I remember one project was just painting the living room. And then about a month later, I was ripping up all the carpet in my apartment and refinishing the floors within a span of 2 days. And I would run, and I would go, and I would run, and I would run until I was tired, or just couldn't go anymore, or until sunlight came up. That was my thing. I would run until sunlight came up. It was time to get dressed in and start the day. And I go on like nothing ever happened. I see now more so the characteristics in terms of you having the greatest idea in the world, or me having the greatest idea in the world. Like all of these things that you're gonna fix and be and do, and people you're gonna save, and how you're gonna save yourself, like that was another symptom. You're just capable of so much, or you think you are, right? And it plays out beautifully in your mind as you see it, but not in reality, right? Projects go unfinished, clothes don't get washed. You forget to show up at things because you've started another project. And then when I got married and moved into a home with another human that was an adult that could notice their wife not coming to bed, things began to click. And I remember I was standing in my underwear, reeling, screaming, crying, and my brother came down the stairs. My husband, had called for him. And he was really gentle. And I listened to him, and I went with him to Deaconess. But only because he was it was like my dad. He was the way that John would be. His voice was quiet. He wasn't angry. He held my hand. And so I think that began the journey to being able to live with bipolar. I went to treatment. It was 30 days, and we pull up. And I just started to cry because it was nothing like the pictures. And I begged my husband, who had gotten on a plane with me, please don't leave me here, please don't leave me here. And after a couple of hours, I realized I was staying. While they were very kind and I really appreciate everything that they did, I think I went home after 12 days with a dual diagnosis. I was an alcoholic, came to terms with that there, realized drinking yourself to sleep, and eventually drinking through the day is not the way that healthy functioning beings deal with grief in the bipolar diagnosis. And so and the next 2 years was battle after battle after battle to try to win this war, right? This war that rages inside of you that nobody on the outside can really get it. And it becomes super annoying, and it doesn't matter how bad you want to be good or how all the actions you take to live this normal, stable life, sometimes you're not always making the right choice. People really believed that I wanted to make my way to a space where I was well. I put in the work. We put in the work. We did all the right things for the most part, but it just couldn't click. And it gets tiresome. It gets really tiresome. And when your family tells you that they're just tired, you don't get it. You're like, what do you mean? I'm fighting for my life, you're tired? But looking back now, I get it. because I can be great one day and destroy everything the next. My best day is I get up, I take my medication in the morning, I do some yoga most mornings, on the best mornings. I eat something, I get my son up, and I follow a routine. It's routine. I found, to do this and do it well, or attempt to do it well, it's routine, it's consistency. It's knowing that when the weather is nice and you get a little uptick and you want to go run 10 miles, it's best to take a pause, dial it back, and unwind until it becomes nighttime and go to bed. And that's the discipline. Are there days that are worse than others? Yes, but they are not nearly as close together. And they don't have to be bad. Like there's a defining moment, and I get to choose. If I'm taking my medicine, I'm doing healthy things, I get to choose which way that defining moment is going to go. So the tough days just aren't that close together anymore. There are so many people that are suffering in silence because you don't want anybody to think you're crazy, or you don't want to be vulnerable. Shame consumes you. It's scary to tell your story. It's scary to say, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not even close. But the connection I think you feel with other humans or families, your own family, once you get to a place where you can share that story, it's indescribable. Children shouldn't suffer this way. People shouldn't suffer this way. People need to be given resources. People need to be educated. People need to have a safe place. People deserve to be healthy. Those are a heck of a lot of reasons, I think, why mental health and talking about it is important. And not just the bad stuff, the good stuff. You can share the battle stories, you can talk about the war, right? But you have got to celebrate your moments of victory so you can give people hope.
More morphine.